123 million people on the move. Eid just 2 days away. And more deportations. Stay tuned for details. Selamat siang. Welcome to the latest news from Bali and Indonesia. This is April 20th, 2023, and my name is Bruce. Wow, it is hard to get the date right sometimes. Okay, and what is the weather like? Well, it was beautiful earlier, but it is clouding up now, and it is 29.4 degrees Celsius here in Kampung Bugis, and the humidity is 68%, and the wind speed is a gentle 4.5 kilometers per hour. Not much in the way of wind today. And yes, Eid is almost here, or Lebaran, call it what you will, and my house is getting full of people. We have, I think, 7 here so far, and daughter number 1 just called and said, I'll be there today or tomorrow. Right. Time in Indonesians drives me nuts, even after 33 years. And so I imagine we're going to have somewhere around 16 to 20 people in this house for the next few days as Lebaran comes, and well, it's going to be busy, 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 busy. And millions begin travel an annual Idul Fitri exodus. So the peak of Mudik, right, the annual traveling home, is expected to be today, and major seaports and toll roads are packed. And take a look at Gilimanuk. Wow, it is a mess. Airports and bus terminals are also full of travelers looking forward to reuniting with their family. This year marks the first Mudik, as the annual exodus is known, since the COVID-19 restrictions were removed at the end of 2022. Transportation Ministry has predicted that as much as 123 million people will travel for Idul Fitri this year, up from 85 million who made the trip last year. Some 18 million people are forecast to leave the greater Jakarta area alone. When my oldest daughter was working in Jakarta, she said at the Idul Fitri time, it was empty like a ghost town. And travelers will be enduring hours of traffic, congested airports, congested seaports, all just to get home to spend the end of Ramadan, Idul Fitri, Lebaran with their families. And for those of you who are not familiar with Idul Fitri, tomorrow, right, Friday, okay, there's the takbir, there is the parade that happens the last night of Ramadan, and this was banned during the pandemic, and it is back again. My granddaughter Zoe has her shirt. She's got a special shirt to do this, and they're out and drums are playing and people are chanting, and they have a lot of fun. Cars are honking, motorcycles honking. Maybe we'll be able to get a little video of it if you haven't seen it before, and if you're in an area where there are some Muslims, you may have one of these parades in your neighborhood. So check it out and see what it's like. And then on Saturday, everybody gets up and they go and do joint prayers. Sometimes they go here in Singaraja, they go to the city park, but they can also go to the local mosque and they do prayers. They come home, they eat, and then they spend a day visiting, going from house to house and wishing people well and having some snacks and coffee and all that good kind of stuff. And me, I hang out up here in the 3rd floor. I don't like crowds. Okay, deportations happening, right. Deportations still going on, and, well, they're being publicized. Immigration is letting people know that they are doing their job and they are getting rid of people who are violating the rules and regulations. And first we're going to start with the story of the Russian village. You remember this goes back, I don't know what, 3 or 4 weeks ago. The vice governor, deputy governor said that there was foreign villages and mentioned Ubud in particular. And, well, here is a story, and it called The Russian Village. Denpasar immigration searches the Parq Ubud Hotel. Here's the management's explanation. So the TPI, Denpasar Class 1 Immigration Office, together with Bali Ministry of Law and Human Rights, went to the Parq Hotel on Jalan Sriwidari in Tegalalang on Saturday. The operation was carried out because the location was often mentioned as one of the Russian villages in Ubud. During the raid, the officers did not find any foreigners who violated any rules and regulations. They all had their documents in order. The head of Immigration Class 1, Denpasar, Teddy Riandi, explained that the operation was carried out because, according to him, the Parq Ubud Hotel was one of the most visited places by foreigners in Ubud. Really? He said the results of the operation, there were 90 rooms full and 50% of them were occupied by Russians. The rest were from various countries, Kazakhstan, Germany, and Indonesia as well. He explained that his team checked all the documents of the foreigners staying there and no passport problems, no permit problems, no violations were found. And according to him, the foreigners who live in that hotel are mostly long-stay people. The Parq Hotel in Ubud is, well, considered by many to be a Russian hangout. I guess 50% of the guests are Russians. That's a pretty fair number. The general manager of the hotel, Imade Dwi Surya Pramadi, said that many of the guests have come from Russia, and he said they also have fully armed police personnel who guard the location. Why is that? He said because there's a lot of foreigners there from countries that are at war. And he said management had requested the police presence. He said the Russian and Ukrainian guests didn't request the police, it was the hotel management just to make sure everything was safe. Okay. He said he wasn't sure how long police presence would be there. However, he ensured that maintenance would continue until the situation was conducive again. It's been said by many people in social media, oh, the Russians own this place. Well, according to the general manager, that is not true. He said there's 3 people that own it, but none of them are Russians. The 3 owners, Balinese, German, and an American. Okay, that settles that rumor. Okay, and so a well-known hangout for Russians checked and no problems. Okay, good news there. Ministry of Law and Human Rights installs billboards in Russian, not reluctant to deportation. So the Ministry of Law and Human Rights has emphasized that tourists who are on vacation in Bali may not work without a permit. And they made their point by putting up a huge billboard on Jalan Sunset Road in Seminyak. The billboard displays in 2 languages, English and Russian. It has a red background and it has a number of warnings and has the photo of the head of the regional office of the Ministry of Law and Human Rights, Parq. And what does it say? It says, we welcome all foreign tourists to Bali. As a tourist, you are not permitted to accept any employment or work in Indonesia. Any foreign national who is disrespectful or contravened the applicable legislation is subject to deportation and an entry ban. That's blacklisting. Previously, as reported by the ministry, 21 Russian tourists have been deported from Bali during the period 2nd of January to the 15th of April. So there are a number of these stories of people who are being deported, and I'm just going to talk about one here. This is an interesting one. Incorrectly using a residence permit, a Ukrainian foreigner was deported for opening massage services in Bali. Advertise on social media and you're going to get busted because immigration is scanning social media looking for people that are violating the law. So in addition to deporting 2 Russians, the immigration department is also deporting the Ukrainian with the initials VB. He's apparently here on an investor visa and, well, he's not investing, he's working. Parq said that the Nurai immigration office received complaints from the public about this guy, and so they went and checked because the public said there's a foreigner here offering massage services. And well, that should be the domain of Indonesians, right? The person who reported to immigration was kind enough not to go viral and just report to us, he said. So a thorough investigation was carried out, and he was advertising on Instagram. His account was Illegally Good Massage. This guy may be a candidate for the Darwin Award. So if you have an investor visa, yeah, you can invest. You can't work. No work, no work, no work. Just invest. And so he was doing that. And well, there are a lot of questions about how many of these people that have investor visas are really investors. But that's another story for another time. Because he was doing the wrong thing, he's being deported, and he's going to be blacklisted. During the investigation, they weren't able to come up with any money as evidence, but they did have the Instagram account, the self-advertising, and VB admitted that that was his, and he had put it up there, and yes, he was doing it, and so he is out. During this period that I mentioned in the last one, from January 2nd to April 15th, 96 foreigners have been kicked out of the country. 3 reasons, according to immigration: overstaying, violation of legal norms, and misuse of residence permit. And here's something that's interesting, and this is still related to foreigners that are here. Even though they have an ID card, the Bali KPU ensures that foreigners do not have the right to vote during elections in Indonesia. The chairperson of Bali KPU said that even though foreigners may have an ID card, I have a KTP, that's the Indonesian identification card. I have a KTP OA, or I'm a SING, so a foreign KTP. He said that even though foreigners have these, that does not mean that they can vote. Apparently, some Indonesians are concerned that people with KTPs may be able to vote. And according to the chairperson of KPU, in the Bali province, there are 2,410 foreigners who have a KTP from Bali. I would have thought there'd been more. And a breakdown by regency or city: Jembrana has 11, Tabanan 184, Badung 1,385, Gianyar 201, Klungkung 86, Bangli 21, Karangasem 0. Really? Buleng 49. Ooh, I'm one of 49. And Denpasar City 473. So you can see where the residents are. They're mostly in Badung. And the spokesperson said that it is legal for foreigners to have an Indonesian identity card, referring to Law 23 of 2016 concerning population, and Article 63, Paragraph 1, just states that residents, both Indonesian citizens and foreigners who have permanent residence permits and are 17 years old or older, married or have been married, must have an ID card. And so we can't vote, right? I think we all know that. Okay, and we're going to finish up today with something I haven't talked about in a long time: COVID. No need to overreact, says Jokowi on COVID case growth. Yes, number of cases of COVID have gone up, in some cases as much as 40% recently. President Jokowi said on Wednesday the public needs to remain calm. Remember when I used to talk about COVID all the time, and the government was always saying, stay calm, stay calm. The president reminded people to get their booster vaccinations, as social activities are expected to rise during the Idul Fitri celebrations. He said, COVID is rising, but it is slight, and so no need to get upset. The president said, I ask for people who might feel ill to wear face masks, and also those with comorbidities. Wearing a face mask should also be a must in meeting elderly people. Okay, I'm an elderly person. Are people going to wear a face mask when they see me over the next few days? I doubt it. Daily COVID cases reach 1,000. Wow, we're up to 1,000? According to data sourced from the COVID-19 task force, the number of daily cases is over 1,000, with nearly 10,000 active cases. I have not been following COVID recently because, well, we just kind of figured, it's over. But we're up to 1,000 a day again. The rise in cases coincides with the emergence of new COVID-19 subvariant known as Arcturus, or XBB 1.16. This new subvariant, there are a total of 7 confirmed cases. Okay, not many. And what about Arcturus? Well, symptoms of COVID-19 Arcturus and how to prevent its transmission. Symptoms: fever, chills, nausea, vomiting, headache, sore throat, dry cough. I've got a sore throat and a dry cough. No fever, no chills, no nausea, no vomiting, no headache. Well, I'm going to have a headache with 20 people in my house, but that's a different story. According to Iwan Aryawan, epidemiologist from the University of Indonesia's Faculty of Public Health, he said the virus transmission is possible through close contact and by air or droplets. Since this type of variant is in the same family as Omicron, remember Omicron, the transmission is fast but symptoms are not too severe. However, the Arcturus variant must be anticipated because it caused a spike in new cases in India and also been detected in Singapore and in the United States. People presenting symptoms of COVID-19 should immediately check with the nearest health service. General symptoms, as I said, are those plus a runny nose, nasal congestion, I have that too, difficulty smelling, nope, fever, nausea, and vomiting. Okay, so I got a few, I think I've got a cold. Oh, and here, apparently there's one more new symptom, or two more, red eyes and an eye discharge. So I haven't heard anything about this. This is something new that I've heard about. But, well, you know, I think people are pretty much over COVID-19 for the most part. There are still people wearing masks here. When you go into supermarkets, you'll see some people wearing masks, majority not wearing masks here. I don't want to see another surge of COVID, especially with the big season coming up, right? The big high season coming up, because this is getting close to the end of April, and then May, June, July, August, September. And if you've seen any videos recently of Ubud or Canggu, you know they're packed, packed, packed. Okay, that is it for today. Thanks for viewing. Be kind to someone today. Stay safe, and I'll see you next time. If you're celebrating Eid, have a good one.